Hey, welcome to our podcast, Spill the Lassi, a show where we talk about relevant topics in our Punjabi community. Hey everybody, my name is Manvir Singh, joined by Sachleen Singh. We're going to be doing Sidhu Moosewala song translations. Now, this is just our interpretation, and by no means can we speak for Sidhu as an artist by what he means. Now, his songs and lyrics were very intricate with a lot of meanings and messages that even went over my head until I started researching it. He meant a lot to me as a kid that was born and raised in the States, but I know you, Sachleen, had a unique relationship with him.
Hi everyone, this is Sachleen. And speaking of my history of getting to know about Sidhu, I went to the same school as him. We had the same campus as I was in my high school and he was doing his undergrad when I first heard about him. I never met him in person, but I think I first heard of him when he gave his first song License to Ninja. And, he released it and the song went viral. And then we came to know that it's someone from our school who wrote the song. I was always excited whenever he released a new song. And even though I never met him, I always had this connection that it's someone I can relate with being from the same school or background.
Yeah, so the way we're going to be doing these translations, they're going to be more about dissecting the meaning of the songs versus the words at face value. A lot of these Punjabi songs, translations can be easily found on Google. Sometimes they don't do justice word for word. So we're going to be going into the overall meaning and the dialogue that he had. So for this song 295, the entire song is actually a dialogue and a conversation between Sidhu Moosewala and his father. So Sidhu is basically having an internal debate with a lot of the issues and the controversies in his life, and his dad is responding by giving him guidance and clarity on how to think about these and how to approach with dealing with these issues. So 295, what does it mean exactly? 295 is basically a penal code for speaking against religion in India, and this song was written after a controversy of an earlier song where he mentioned a religious figure and there was a huge backlash for it. So, Sachleen, can you explain more on 295 and what it means?
Yeah, so there's a law under Section 295 of Indian Penal Code, which is used to file charges against someone when there is something said or done to insult or defame a religious group. I think few years back, Sidhu Moosewala was caught in a controversy because of his song Jatti Jione Mod Vargi, in which he used the name of a very respectable religious figure. And I think he wrote this song around that controversy he was caught up in.
Yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and break it down stanza by stanza, so let's get into it.
ਦਸ ਪੁੱਤ ਤੇਰਾ ਹੈਡ ਡਾਊਨ ਕਾਸ ਤੋਂ ਚੰਗਾ ਭਲਾ ਹੱਸਦਾ ਸੀ ਮੌਨ ਕਾਸ ਤੋਂ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦਰਵਾਜ਼ੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੋੜ ਚੱਕੀ ਖੜੇ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਚੰਗੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਆ ਕੌਣ ਕਾਸ ਤੋਂ ਕੁਛ ਇੱਥੇ ਚਾਂਦੀ ਚਮਕਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕੁਛ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਫੜ ਥੱਲੇ ਲਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕੁਛ ਕਨਿਆਏ ਇੱਥੇ ਭੁੱਖੇ ਫੇਮਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤੇਰਾ ਅੱਗੇ ਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਮੁਸੀਬਤ ਤਾਂ ਮਰਦਾਂ ਤੇ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਐ ਦਬੀ ਨਾ ਤੂੰ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਸਵਾਦ ਲੈਂਦੀ ਐ ਨਾਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰਸਤੇ ਤੇ ਤੂੰ ਤੁਰਿਆ ਇੱਥੇ
So in the first stanza, it's basically his dad talking to Sidhu, and the gist of it is saying, you used to be so happy all the time, and right now you're sitting there quietly and you're really sad. What's going on? And there's all these people that are standing in the doorway of your house, and they're holding up these boards saying all sorts of things against you or for you. And I know very well who these people are. And he goes on to explain, some of these people that are here want to make money off of you. Some of these people that are here want to ruin your name because they're jealous. And some of these people are just trying to ride the clout and trying to use your name for their own good, for their own fame. All of these issues, every man deals with issues along these medium. So don't be discouraged. Don't let the world defeat you. And the route that you're going and the career and the fame that you're chasing right here, there's going to be a lot of stuff like this that happens in your field.
Sidhu has been a topic of criticism by a lot of different people at different stages of his journey. I remember there was this South Indian old guy which used to protest against him a lot. He even went to his house. But in a later stage show, I think Sidhu also mentioned that, if you have to really throw stones at our community, then, look at yourself first. Go stop the movies or South Indian movies that are promoting gun violence or violence in general.
One of the biggest things was they were saying he's promoting violence and gun culture in our community. And one of the responses he had in his interview was, if you think that my songs are promoting gun violence and just violence in general, you should look at some of these movies that are getting played in these mainstream outlets in India, whether it's Bollywood or whatever. So why is it that I'm getting targeted?
I mean, for as a singer itself, right? They are making a living out of releasing these songs. So they're gonna cater the songs to the audience that they like, right? So I mean, it all depends on the interest of the topics. If people want to listen to these songs, singers are gonna release it. Obviously, they're not gonna sacrifice their income over their interest, right? So it all depends on the audience as well.
ਸੱਚ ਬੋਲੇਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਮਿਲੂ 295 ਜੇ ਕਰੇਗਾ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਪੁੱਤ ਹੇਠ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ ਅੱਜ ਕਈ ਵਿਚੋਂ ਸੱਭਿਆਚਾਰ ਜੁੱਟ ਕੇ ਜਣਾ ਖਣਾ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਏ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਇੰਜ ਲੱਗੇ ਰੱਬ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਹੱਥ ਖੜੇ ਕਰ ਗਿਆ ਪੜਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਸੁਬਾ ਅਖਬਾਰ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਚੁੱਪ ਰਹਿ ਉਹ ਪੁੱਤਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਭੇਦ ਖੋਲੀ ਦੇ ਲੀਡਰ ਨੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੱਕਦਾਰ ਗੋਲੀ ਦੇ ਉਹ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਵਾਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾ ਜਾਉਣ ਤੇ ਸਟੀਵਿਆ ਰੱਖੇ ਬਣੇ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਉਹ ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਦੇ ਆਓ ਝੂਠ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਫੈਕਟ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਨੇ ਚੋਰ ਬੰਦੇ ਉਰੋਂ ਦੇ ਸਮਾਜ ਸੇਵੀ ਨੇ ਸੱਚ ਵਾਲਾ ਬਾਣਾ ਪਾ ਜੋ ਲੋਕ ਲੁੱਟਦੇ ਸਜ਼ਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਛੇਤੀ ਮੇਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ ਨਿਤ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ
Wow, he says a lot in that second part.
Oh, this is interesting. I mean, if you look at these lines itself, they hold a value of having a debate on each line itself, right? So let's talk about this stanza more in detail on what he's trying to say. In this stanza, Sidhu is saying, and talking about the people who are different inside out. They will portray a very good image of them from outside, but from inside they are not good people, right? So he's saying that these days everyone just starts giving their opinions on what sabhyachar is and how our religion should be and how ਪੰਜਾਬੀਅਤ should be, right? ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਲੋਕੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਦੇਣੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਹਰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਹੋਵੇ ਜਾਂ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ, right? So and he's saying that these so-called leaders will tag themselves as protectors of our Punjabi boli, whereas the same people would give Western names to their kids. And so those rules don't apply to them, but they do apply to others in their books, right?
Right. So they're basically, he's saying some people, they have this image of being really righteous and they preach all of these things, but in real life, they're living life where they don't practice what they preach.
Right? So, he's saying that these are all facts that, these so-called social workers are actually thieves who are robbing people from their rights and misguiding people on different aspects. And, people believe them because of their appearance and, because of their dress
reputation
up. And they dress up as saints, So, but he's saying that these people will also get punished sooner or later because obviously God is watching, right? Yeah.
ਧਰਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਡਿਬੇਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ ਸੱਚ ਬੋਲੇਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਮਿਲੂ 295 ਜੇ ਕਰੇਗਾ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਪੁੱਤ ਹੇਠ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ ਆਓ ਲੋਕ ਵੱਟੇ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਆ ਭਰੇ ਰੁੱਖਾਂ ਤੇ ਮਿੰਟਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਕੁੱਖਾਂ ਤੇ ਕੌਣ ਕੁੱਤਾ ਕੌਣ ਦੱਲਾ ਕੰਜਰੇ ਆ ਕੌਣ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਰਟੀਫਿਕੇਟ ਦੇਣ ਫੇਸਬੁੱਕਾਂ ਤੇ ਲੀਡਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਆਟਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੋਟਾਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਮਾਰਦੇ ਚਪਾਟਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਰ ਉਦੋਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਸਾਲੇ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਸ਼ਰਮ ਦਾ ਘਾਟਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਣ ਲੋਕ ਤਾੜੀ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਹੋ ਕੱਢਦੇ ਕੀ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਦਾੜੀ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਹੋ ਤੇਰੀ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਮਾਂ ਚ ਫਰਕ ਹੈ ਕੀ ਅਕਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜੀ ਲੇਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ
Wow, he's taking shots on the second one.
Yeah, for real, bro. I mean, so it's pretty clear on what he's saying here. And so he's saying that it's very easy for people to give these certificates or bad titles and use abusive words for others sitting behind their phones on social media, right? Individually, if you talk about social media, right, even though these persons with a lot of fan following, don't look at each and every comments, but when they do look, they're individuals as well, right? It hurts their feelings as well.
So when he's saying this idea of Facebook, I mean, he's talking about social media overall. Is he saying that basically all of the audience is giving a conclusion of these artists and Sidhu.
Right. I mean, people judge someone from their song or from their work, right? But we have to understand for them it's work, right?
Right.
As we talked about in the previous stanza, that these singers will not release the songs if audience won't like it, right? So I mean, you like the songs, right? And singer is releasing the songs because of that. You're giving million views to those singers for releasing those songs. It's going viral, right? And when singer is releasing it or the artist is releasing it, then you go to their comment sections, ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢਣੀਆਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੰਗੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੱਢਦੇ ਹੋ comment sections ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਫਿਰ they are individual as well, they are a person, right? So ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ emotions ਨੇ, they have their own feelings, right? ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕਿ hurt ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ. So I mean, what do you think? What are your thoughts about on this?
Sidhu, I feel like, was one of those artists where, as big as he was, he did get affected by a lot of the controversy and a lot of the things that his audience was saying. And I don't think it was necessarily his fans that were saying this. I think it were these people that were throwing stones for whatever reason, to defame Sidhu or to make him look like this bad person. But he did get affected by this.
Yeah.
And he did have a response a lot of times for these people.
And then he also talked about the politicians on how they initially give fake promises to people to get their votes. And some of them would distribute liquor in different pens, and some would give money to buy these votes. And once they're elected, they forget all the promises they made and don't do anything for the people, right? And this has been happening a lot in India.
Right, since the beginning of time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think this is very interesting where he said, something that a lot of people in our community needs to think about. And we have a lot of these abusive words on our tongue, and we use them very commonly in our daily life. And we don't realize the meaning of them when we are communicating. We just say it because it looks cool.
Right.
But he's saying that there are some people who has dadi or beard, means they are in full Sikhi Saroop, and they still use these abusive words. And I think he emphasized beard here because people who tie turbans, or the ones who have full Sikhi Saroop, everyone in the community has a lot of respect for them. Right. And when you have turban on your head and the Saroop Guru Sahib gave you, that comes with a lot of responsibilities.
Of course.
And when you wear that Saroop and ਆਪਾਂ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ, that's not good on us, right? So it carries a lot of responsibilities with us.
Yeah, and I think it's also like the idea of you're looking like this holy righteous figure in society, but apne kaam dekho, apniyan gallan dekho. It's not like just because you look a certain way, but you behave a certain way, that's different.
Right.
So
and it's not just the ones with the Saroop, right? I think it goes to everyone. He's saying, all mothers are same. Right? There's no difference between your mother or mine. So the ones who use these bad words that implies to someone's mother, they will get punished sooner or later, right? And ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢਣੀਆਂ in general, I think ਵੀ ਚੰਗੀ ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੀ, ਹਨਾ? ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਮਾਂ ਭੈਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਾੜਾ ਬੋਲੀਏ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰੇ ਵੀ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਭੈਣਾਂ ਨੇ, ਹਨਾ? ਤੇ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਭੈਣਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਰਾਈਟ, ਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਮਾਂ ਭੈਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਗੱਲ ਕੱਢੀਏ, ਹਨਾ? ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਹਰਟ ਕਰੇ.
Right.
So that's something we all, I think, need to think about.
Yeah, it's something for just our community in general. I mean, I have a sister, I have a mother, I'm gonna have a daughter one day.
Right.
And you have to think about how you would treat your sister, your mother, your daughter, when they go out in our community and society. How is somebody else going to treat them? You would want them to treat them like you would treat them, or somebody else's sister or daughter. So that's one of the things that I think he was trying to get at.
ਤੇਰੀ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਮਾਂ ਚ ਫਰਕ ਹੈ ਕੀ, ਅਕਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜੀ ਲੇਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ, ਨਿਤ ਕੰਟਰੋਵਰਸੀ ਕਰੇਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ, ਧਰਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਡਿਬੇਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ, ਸੱਚ ਬੋਲੇਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਮਿਲੂ 295, ਜੇ ਕਰੇਗਾ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਪੁੱਤੇ ਹੇਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ। ਤੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਅੱਗੇ ਤੇਰੇ ਦਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਫੋਟੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਖਿਚਾਉਂਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਚੰਮ ਕਰਕੇ, ਕੌਣ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਰੱਬ 'ਚ ਯਕੀਨ ਰੱਖਦਾ, ਲੋਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਜੱਜ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਕੇ, ਤੂੰ ਝੁਕਿਆ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਹੋਇਆ ਕੋਡਾ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ, ਪੱਗ ਤੇਰੇ ਸਿਰ ਤੇ ਤੂੰ ਰੋਡਾ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ, ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਪੁੱਛ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਠੇਕੇਦਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਸਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਪੰਥ ਕੱਲਾ ਥੋੜਾ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ, ਆਓ ਕੰਦਿਆਂ ਸਿਆਸਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਲੋਂ ਕੱਢ ਦਿਓ, ਹੋ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰ ਜੋਗਾ ਛੱਡ ਦਿਓ, ਹੋ ਕਿਸੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਸਿਰ ਫਿਰਨੀਓ ਕੇਸ ਲੱਭਣੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਛੇਤੀ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ
Yeah, so again, I think this para is again a conversation between the father and the son. His father is saying, you came so far with your strength, your efforts, and your hard work. The people who are taking pictures with you is not because of your looks or because you're good looking. It's because of your talent and your hard work, right? That got you this far. And now people recognize you. People judge you by your actions and not by your words, right? So he's saying that it's a good thing that we are humble, but that doesn't mean we have to listen to anything people will say. Right? So he's saying pag tere sir te means you have turban on your head. You know you are not Rhoda means you are not the one who cut hairs. And you wear your turban very proudly and you represent yourself as Sikh. Right? So again, it comes back to the point where, you know, you wear turban and it comes with a lot of responsibilities. And even though if you're being humble, that doesn't mean, you know, you have to listen to whatever people is saying. Right? So you have your own points and you have to make it very clear to people.
Yeah, and don't get defeated by everything that's going on.
Yeah. And so the next line where he said, ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਪੁੱਛ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਠੇਕੇਦਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਪੰਥ ਕੱਲਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ right? So this goes really deep and is a whole another topic of debate, you know, where there are people out there who think they are superior than others. Right? And you know, just because how they look, and I'm not saying this for all, there's a very small fraction of that people in our community that are like that. And you know, instead of pushing people away, our Sikh calm should start accepting and loving the youth who are in their beginning stages of learning about our religion instead of discriminating against the ones who are not at the same level as you.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that line that he said, because I think anywhere that you go to where it's just our community in general, there's this idea of inclusiveness.
Right.
And you have to look a certain way or act a certain way. And if you're not, then you're not a part of the crew or the clique.
Yeah.
And
I mean, how do you feel about it, you know, being born in States, right? You know, do you think that same conception or what he's talking about holds here as well, or people are different here?
Yeah, I mean, I personally feel that line a lot because being born and raised here, I personally can relate to it. I feel like if you don't come from a certain family that has an image of you looking like a proper Sikh, then you're not included. And it's the idea of being inclusive. Let's include everybody. Let's spread the love versus, hey, you know, you don't have a right to speak about this because you're not a proper Sikh or you're not a proper representation of our community.
So ਉਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਵੀ, you know, it's very good. And you know, if ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕੋਈ ਸੌਖੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਵੀ, you know, ਪੱਗ ਬੰਨੀ ਸਿਰ ਤੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਸੁੱਖੀ ਸਰੂਪ 'ਚ ਰਹਿਣਾ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਹਿਊਜ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ ਟੂ ਦੈਮ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਤੇ ਪਰ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਰਿਸਪੋਂਸੀਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਬਣਦੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਯੂਥ ਹੈਗਾ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਲੈਵਲ 'ਤੇ, ਰਾਈਟ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗਾਈਡ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਇੰਸਟੈਡ ਆਫ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੈਪਰੇਟ ਸਮਝ ਕੇ, ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਪਾਰਟ ਨਾ ਸਮਝ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੇ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ. ਇੰਸਟੈਡ ਸ਼ੋ ਲਵ ਟੂ them, you know, tell them, you know, what Sikhi means, and you know, give them the reasons to connect with Sikhi instead of getting away from it.
Yeah, and I think that's a really big topic in our community, where it's this rigid field where a lot of times, you know, nowadays a lot of the youth, a lot of the kids growing up, they kind of feel like they can't be a part of the Sikh community because they're being, you know, looked at a certain way. That you're not a part of the Sikh community because you don't look or act or behave a certain way. Where it should be more inclusive. They should be encouraged to join and, you know, partake in what's going on.
And I think he also emphasized on the politics that goes in our religions, whether it's in Gurdwara or religious debates, or, you know, taking leadership, or whether it's again discriminating among people, right? So there's a lot of dirty politics people play. So he clearly said to stop these dirty politics and you know, at least let some people still have their faith. Otherwise a date will come where no one would want to keep their hairs or wear turban.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So that goes really deep.
It wraps up the situation completely, and I think that has a lot to do with stuff that's happening in Punjab, but also in Western countries, in the States, Canada, UK. I feel like that's a trend everywhere.
ਮੀਡੀਆ ਕਈ ਬਣ ਬੈਠੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਗਵਾਰ ਇੱਕੋ ਝੂਠ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਵਾਰ-ਵਾਰ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਕੇ ਜਨਾਨੀਆਂ ਨਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਚੁਗਲੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਆ ਚੱਜ ਦਾ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਤੇ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਭਾਲਦੇ ਵਿਵਾਦ ਨੇ ਐਵੇਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਫਸਾਦ ਨੇ 24 ਘੰਟੇ ਨਾਲੇ ਨਿੰਦ ਤੇ ਪਰਾਉਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਨਾਲੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੱਲੇ ਕੱਲੇ ਗੀਤ ਯਾਦ ਨੇ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਔਖੀ ਹੋਈ ਐ ਕਰੌੜ ਤੇਰੇ ਤੇ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਨੇ ਐਵੇਂ ਸਾਲੇ ਲਾਉੜ ਤੇਰੇ ਤੇ ਪਰ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਰੱਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਯਾਦ ਪੁੱਤਰਾ ਆ ਬਾਪੂ ਤੇਰਾ ਬੜਾ ਆ ਪ੍ਰਾਊਡ ਤੇਰੇ ਤੇ ਤੂੰ ਦਬ ਗਿਆ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਨੇ ਵਹਿਮ ਪਾਲਿਆ ਉੱਠ ਪੁੱਤ ਝੋਟਿਆ ਓਏ ਮੂਸੇ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਜੇ ਐਵੇਂ ਰਿਹਾ ਗੀਤਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੱਚ ਬੋਲਦਾ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ
Wow, I get chills every time I hear that one.
Right, so I think Sidhu is talking about the lies that are given out to people from media.
Mm-hmm.
And he's referring to one particular show here called Chajda Vichar.
Yeah.
And I think there was some controversy where the media, this media channel said something about Sidhu. And this verse was in response to that. And he mentioned that they talk behind people's back and criticize them. And they still call this show as Chajda Vichar, meaning you know it's to discuss good thoughts.
Right.
So he's also saying that these people will keep looking for reasons to go against you 24 hours, and they still listen to each and every song of yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here father is saying to him, as no matter what happens, even though people are mad at you or they're against you, but always remember one thing, that I am always gonna be proud of you.
Yeah. And I think that line hits deep because
Right.
us as individuals, aside from everything that he's talking about, all this stuff that people are saying, all these things that they're saying you're doing good things and bad things, at the end of the day, son, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, and ਇਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੋਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਿੱਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ how close Sidhu was to his parents.
Mm-hmm.
And that just defines, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ society ਦੇਖੀਏ, the only person that's going to stand with you, when you're in bad times is either your parents or your sister or brother, if you have any, right? So it's your close family that stands with you in your bad times. ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰਾਂ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਇਤਬਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ we have seen a lot of examples. ਆਪਣੀ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਝਾਤੀ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਤਾਂ there are a lot of situations where you yourself will feel that you need support, but it's only your family who stand up for you.
Right. And so I mean, Sidhu in this song, he talked about a lot. It gave a lot of insight of just the internal battles that he had. And I think that gave a very good insight of just him dealing with controversy. It gave him insight on his response to it, his views on our community in Punjab, and also at the end of the day where he ended with just that line with his dad, like, look, everything's going to keep happening, but it all comes down to one thing at the end of the day, family.
Yeah, and the last line is pretty clear. I think his father is saying that it's people's thinking that you are down, but you're stronger than all of this. So stand up and keep speaking the truth in your songs. And if you will do so, the coming generation will all be educated and full of knowledge.
Yeah. And sitting here right now, even after Sidhu's passing, we can see that happening.
Of course.
Right. Yeah. All these things that are really relevant, we're talking about it, we're dissecting it, we're trying to figure out solutions to it, or even just understand it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So, a lot more to come. I think there's a lot of meanings in a lot of his other songs, but 295 was one of the biggest ones. And stay tuned. We're going to be recording a lot more. Thank you, Sachleen.
ਐਜੂਕੇਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ ਨਿਤ ਕੰਟਰੋਵਰਸੀ ਕਰੇਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ ਧਰਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਡਿਬੇਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ ਸੱਚ ਬੋਲੇਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਮਿਲੂ 295 ਜੇ ਕਰੇਗਾ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਪੁੱਤ ਹੇਟ ਮਿਲੂਗੀ